Welcome to a yoga foundations practice. I have my beautiful daughter Julia here to help me. She's going to be the practitioner and I'm going to talk you through. This is great if you want a more grounding, basic class, or if you're new to yoga. This will really help you start to engage some of the foundations of a Vinyasa Flow practice. So welcome, thanks for joining us. If you have 2 blocks or even just 1 block, that might be helpful. These are just foam. You can get them in all sorts of different varieties. Amazon, Hugger Mugger, Yoga Outlet, all sorts of places. Even Target often has them. So if you're interested in starting a Vinyasa practice, I highly recommend you invest in just a decent mat and a couple blocks. So with that, we're going to go ahead and get started in lying down on your back. So Julie, I'm going to have you take your head that way and your feet this way. Turn on a little extra light. And go ahead and take a nice deep breath in, stretch your arms out over your head and point your toes. And then as you exhale, bring the knees to your chest and take your hands to your shins, giving yourself a nice big hug. Yeah, and notice the back of her head is still relaxed on the mat. She's going to gently tuck the chin in towards her throat so she feels a little length at the back of the neck. And this hugging in of her legs starts to create some space in her low back and her glutes. Set the soles of the feet to the mat and then open out your arms to a T shape and let the knees open out. So you're in a reclined butterfly shape. The soles of her feet came together, her knees open out. And don't worry, not everyone is as flexible as her, so your knees may be up really high. And then Julia, bring one hand to your heart and one hand to your belly. So we start to feel and connect with the movement of our breath. If you're comfortable, go ahead and close your eyes. If this shape with your legs is hurting your hips or your inner thighs, you can take your blocks or some pillows and just prop up your legs. You'll still get an opening, but it'll feel less painful and more supportive. So we'll just take a few breaths here, really connecting with the flow of our breath. One of the keys to yoga and one of the things that makes it so powerful is the connection of breath and movement. Breath we think of as our life force, right? Without breath there is no life. And it really helps us to become steady with the breath, the body, provide steadiness of the mind and the emotions. So just starting to increase the flow of our breath. As you inhale, see if you can count to 4 or even 5. And then as you exhale, same count, 4 or 5. Just creating this full yogic breath. Staying with that breath as best we can. I always like to say it's a little bit like hide and seek with the breath, right? We'll lose track of it and we'll come back. We'll lose track of it and we'll find it again. Slowly slide your hands down to your thighs and bring your knees together. Close your legs like you would a book. And we'll hug the right knee into your chest. Wrapping your hands around your shins, stretch your left leg out nice and long on the mat. Lay it down, let it relax. And circle your right ankle a few times in each direction. And then stretch your right leg straight up to the sky. Holding behind the thigh anywhere, or even just on the sides of the leg if you're not very flexible. And then point and flex your right foot. Feel some movement in the back of your right leg and opening. Her head still resting down, her chest is still on the mat. So if you're reaching and pulling, putting too much effort, relax back down, even if you can't hold the leg. Leave your torso resting on the mat. And we'll open up to what's called half happy baby. Start to bend your right knee towards your right armpit. So open it out a little bit. And you're going to reach inside your right knee for the outside edge of your foot or your ankle, right? You can also just hold on to the knee. Julia, let go. You can just hold on behind the right knee if you can't catch the foot. And then we'll move this into a twist. So take your left hand to your right knee and draw it across your body all the way over to the left side of the mat. Your right hip is going to lift up. Yeah, and she just got a little free chiropractic. Her back popped. So the right hip's going to lift up away from the earth, coming to stack over the left. So your right shoulder might come off the mat as well, and that's okay. If you'd like to take the full revolution of the spine, turn your chin towards your right shoulder. The majority of our nervous system is housed along our spine, and in yoga we believe that this is the super highway of energy along our spine as well. So when we move the spine in all 6 directions, not only does it keep it really healthy, but it helps the flow of energy. Bring your right leg back to center and give it one more nice big hug. And then stretch out nice and long, that first shape we started with. Take your arms up overhead and bring your legs together, and then exhale, hug the left knee into your chest. Make a few circles through your left ankle. And then reverse the direction. And stretch your left leg straight up to the sky. You can hold on anywhere on that leg, or don't hold on, depending on how flexible you are. Point and flex your foot, starting to open up the back of the leg. Think of it as just like an exploration of sensation. And then start to bend your right knee towards your right armpit. Sorry, left knee towards your left armpit, coming into that half happy baby shape. So you can just hold behind your left thigh like Julia is, or take the arm inside the knee and reach for the outside edge of the foot or the ankle. And then you're just gently relaxing the right side of your body back down. And then right hand comes to your left knee. Draw it across your body into the twist. You'll release the left arm out to a half T. And again, your left hip's coming up away from the mat, coming towards stacking on top of the right. Your left shoulder might lift away from the earth. You take your chin to your left shoulder. One more nice deep breath here. It's a little harder to breathe in a twist. So allow the breath to explore some new areas, maybe a little bit deeper in the chest or right behind your heart, in between the shoulder blades. And slowly bring your left knee back to center. Give it one more nice big hug. And then inhale, stretch out nice and long. Take the arms up overhead, bring your feet to knee, point your toes. Exhale, hug both knees into your chest again. Start to rock and roll the length of your spine, bringing yourself up to a comfortable seat. If rocking and rolling on your spine isn't comfortable or possible, you're just going to come to one side and press up. Bring your palms in front of you and roll over your shins. Find a tabletop position, hands and knees on your mat. The knees are right under your hips, so Julia, make your knees just a little wider. Yeah. Palms are right under your shoulders. Try not to lock out the elbows. Yeah, soften them a little bit. And then exhale, press the floor away and round your spine. Right? So scoop those lowest ribs in, tuck the tail underneath you, bring the chin to the notch at the base of your throat. You're arching up like a Halloween cat. It's called cat shape. And then inhale, start to lower your belly down and sway your back. right? So little press of the knees towards each other here as the tail lifts and the chin moves away from your chest. Your heart feels like it's trying to reach forward through your collarbones. Exhale, press the floor away and round your spine. Nice cat shape. Inhale, lower the belly down and arch to cow. Exhale, round to cat. Inhale to cow. One more round. Exhale, cat shape. Inhale to cow. We're going to pause here with this little bit of sway in our back. Tuck your toes under. Press your palms up towards the top of the mat and lift your hips nice and slow. You're pressing your heels down. You're making this upside down V shape called downward facing dog. And Julia's lucky. Hers is really, really beautiful. She's got this really nice long line from her fingers to her hips and her hips to her heels. So it doesn't matter if your heels don't touch down, you're just creating the sensation of pressing them down and lifting your toes up. Your gaze is right between your heels or maybe up towards the top of your thighs. You want a nice neutral head, right? So you're not trying to lift your head up and you're not fully dropping it down, but there's a little length through the back of the neck. Our spine is one long line. Slowly lower your knees to the mat. Slide them out really nice and wide, maybe even mat width apart. Bring your big toes towards each other and soften your sit bones back to your heels. This is child's pose. Palms are reaching up overhead. If your head doesn't quite touch down, you can take your block and place it underneath your forehead, bringing the floor to you. Inhale up to your tabletop position, hands and knees. Exhale, tuck the toes and lift your hips again. Come to downward facing dog. Lifting your gaze to your fingertips, exhale all the air out and step your feet slowly to meet your hands. You're in a forward fold. Generous bend in your knees will help protect the area where your hamstring inserts into your pelvis. This area right here where the hamstring inserts is really delicate. So let your head go, Julia. Don't try to hold it up. Shake it no and nod it yes. And then press down through your feet. They're about hip width apart. So Julia, you can have your feet a little wider apart. And grasp for opposite elbows. Sway a little bit side to side. Shake your head no and nod it yes. This is called ragdoll shape in our forward fold. The Sanskrit name for this forward fold is Uttanasana. Sanskrit is the ancient language of yoga. And place your palms to your shins. As you inhale, lengthen out your spine. Try to create a nice flat tabletop. So notice her gaze is lifted slightly, right? She's plugging her shoulders down her back. Scapula drawing towards each other. Scapula your shoulder blades. Her tail's reaching back. And she's still got a little soft bend in her knees. A little bit softer with the knees, Julia. Nice. This is called Ardha Uttanasana, or halfway lift. Exhale, fold forward. As you inhale, come all the way up to stand. Pressing down with your feet, circle the arms out and up. Bring your palms to touch overhead. Catch your left wrist with your right hand and take a side stretch over to your right. Anchor down through the pinky edge side of your left foot. Inhale through center, left hand to your right wrist. Take a side stretch to the left and anchor down through the pinky edge side of your right foot. What's really nice you can see here is that Julia's got a nice long line here. She's not leaning forward or back. Inhale through center and exhale, fold forward. Take the belly to your thighs. So bend your knees, plant your hands down, slide your hands to your shins, breathe in and lengthen out your spine. Exhale, plant your palms flat to the mat. So bend the knees as much as you need to and step your feet back. Find plank shape, top of your push-up. Right, so you want to create one long line from the crown of your head all the way to your heels. Right, so if your butt's up a lot, try lowering it down, tucking those lowest ribs in, hugging the pubic bone slightly up to your navel. Lower your knees to the mat for me, but don't change anything through the rest of your body. Just set your knees down. Really nice job. Bend your elbows. They can be nice and neutral. They might gently hug in towards your waist. Lower yourself all the way down to the mat. Nice. So if your hips dropped first, next time you're going to want to engage your core a little bit more so that your chest and your hips land at about the same time. Pressing into your palms, dial your shoulders to your low back and lift your chest. Press the shoulders down and out of your ears. If you need to change the position of your hands, you can. This is called cobra shape, a nice gentle back bend. Julia, untuck your toes. Rest the top of the foot down. Squeeze your heels slightly towards each other. Exhale, release your forehead to the mat. Come all the way down. Inhale through tabletop position, hands and knees. Exhale, tuck the toes and lift your hips. Downward facing dog. So this is a pretty basic variation of what's called Surya Namaskar A, or Sun Salutation A. It builds heat and it starts to open up the spine. Lifting your gaze to your fingertips, step your feet to your hands. Inhale, halfway lift. Create some length in your spine. Palms come to your shins. Exhale, release. Fold all the way forward. Inhale, come all the way up to stand. Circle your arms out and up. We'll take that side stretch again. Right hand to your left wrist. Take a side stretch over to your right. Inhale through center. Left hand to your right wrist. Side stretch left. Inhale through center. Exhale, fold forward. Hands down to the mat. Bend your knees. Inhale, halfway lift. Create some length. Iron out your spine. Exhale, bend your knees, plant your hands flat, and step your feet back to plank shape, top of your push-up. We'll explore here another variation without putting the knees down. It's pretty challenging. So be patient with yourself and use the knees. If you don't quite feel strong enough, eventually you'll get there. Rock your weight forward, so lift the heels. Notice how her shoulders come over her wrists. Start to bend your elbows and lower halfway down. Now come all the way down onto your belly. Yeah. Inhale to cobra shape. Exhale, release your forehead down. Inhale through tabletop position, hands and knees. Exhale, tuck the toes and lift your hips, downward facing dog. So when we pause halfway down, that's called Chaturanga Dandasana. It's like very similar to a tricep push-up, but I tend to do it with nice neutral elbows. They're not too hugged into my sides, but they're just kind of gliding back. Last breath here in your downward facing dog. Gaze to your fingertips, feet move to your hands. We'll take one more time through our Sun Salutation A. Inhale, halfway lift. Create that flat tabletop with your back. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, come all the way up to stand. Circle your arms out and up. Catch your left wrist with your right hand and come up and over. Inhale through center, switch your grip, side stretch to the left. Inhale through center, exhale, fold forward, release the belly to your thighs, bend the knees to protect the hamstring and the low back. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant your hands and move your feet to the back of the mat, plank shape, top of your push-up. Julia, this time I'll have you set your knees down because it seemed like we need to build a little bit more strength to accomplish that Chaturanga Dandasana. So slowly set your knees to the mat. Keep your hips where they are. Lift your gaze a little bit here. Bend your elbows halfway. Yeah, and then press right back up. Nice job. Now lower all the way to the mat as you exhale. Inhale, lift your chest. Find that cobra shape. Option to try what's called upward facing dog. So Julia, you're going to press your arms straight and lift your hips away from the mat. So use the strength of your legs to get your hips up and your legs up. A little bit more engagement. So this is floating right here in upward facing dog. Press into the top of your feet. Get your legs straight. Yeah. Takes lots of strength. So try to take your knees away from the mat, Julia. Nope. Toes just like that. Yes. Drop your hips a little bit and lift your gaze. Yes. Beautiful. Upward facing dog. Now start to lift your hips and tuck the toes under. Downward facing dog. Right? So eventually we learn to roll over the top of the foot, but we'll get to that later. Right? Gazing to your fingertips, feet move to your hands. You're in a forward fold. Inhale, lengthen your spine. Exhale, fold forward. We're gonna move on to Sun Salutation B, Surya Namaskar B. Bring your big toes towards each other. Bend your knees and sink your hips nice and low. There's a sliver of space between your heels as you sweep your arms up. So it's almost as if you're a little bit pigeon-toed, right? And if you start to feel a little too much in your low back, just widen out your feet. You want to hug the tailbone forward to the pubic bone and the pubic bone up to your navel, so you have a nice neutral curve in your low back. Exhale, fold forward, belly to your thighs. You probably just felt your legs work a lot there. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant your hands and move your feet to the back of the mat. We're back to that plank shape, top of our push-up. We'll take a breath or two here just to gain some strength. Julie, you need to lift your gaze, slide your scapula towards each other. See how our back just got a lot more flat right here instead of that hunching? Lower your knees to the mat and come all the way down onto your belly. Nice neutral elbow, nice job. Inhale to cobra shape. Lift your chest. Gaze is right down your nose. Chin is neutral. Beautiful. Exhale, release your forehead down. Inhale, come through your tabletop position, hands and knees. Exhale, tuck your toes and lift your hips downward facing dog. Inhale, sweep your right heel up to the sky. It's called three-legged dog, nice and challenging. Exhale, bring the knee to the nose and place your right foot just inside your right thumb. So if your foot doesn't get there on its own, it's okay to use your hand to pick it up and help it, right? You're gonna pivot your back heel flat and step your left foot out and forward. So bump the left foot out to the left side of your mat and step it forward a little bit, shortening your stance. That was a little too much, Julia. Yeah, you got it off the mat. All right, deep bend in your right knee. Lift the torso and the arms. Bring your shoulders over your hips. Beautiful. This is called Virabhadrasana A or Warrior One, right? So your shoulders are facing forward. Your arms are up. The palms will turn towards each other. The eyes and the elbows face each other. Drop the shoulders to your waist. And her Warrior One looks really great. Eventually, we want this front thigh parallel to the mat so we can challenge ourselves. She's stamping down through the pinky edge side of her back foot. And sometimes they'll tell you to square your hips here. I think that that's a little unrealistic for most of us, right? This left hip with that leg way back is probably going to be open a little bit. So maybe just think about drawing your rib cage towards square with the front of your mat. And she's not on a tightrope here, so I'll just show you. Instead of being with the legs stacked like this, you can take a little break if you need to straighten that front leg, Julia. See how I'm kind of on a tightrope here. Julia's feet are out really nice and wide, so they're aligned right leg with the right hip, left leg with the left hip, right? All right, beautiful. Exhale, set your hands to surround your right foot. Pivot the back heel off the mat. Step to plank shape, top of your push-up. So step that right foot back next to the left. Remember what we said about moving the scapula towards each other, taking that roundness out of your back. Lower your knees to the mat. Nice neutral elbows. Lower your chest. Remember, it should get there at the same time as your hips. So you've got to use the strength of your arms and your belly. Nice job. Inhale, lift your chest, cobra shape. Exhale, release your forehead to the mat. Inhale through hands and knees. Tuck the toes and lift the hips. Downward facing dog. Inhale, sweep your left heel to the sky. Three-legged dog. Exhale, bring the knee to the nose and place the left foot inside your left thumb. You're going to pivot the right heel flat as you bump that right foot in and out. Beautiful. Pressing down through your left heel and the pinky edge side of your right foot, lift your shoulders up over your hips. Fingertips reach to the sky. Palms shine towards each other. Really nice. This is Virabhadrasana A or Warrior One. This is part of Sun Salutation B. Exhale, palms surround your left foot. Pivot the back heel off the mat. Step to plank shape, top of your push-up. And this is called our Vinyasa. Lower your knees to the mat. Come half or all the way down. Inhale, lift your heart. Find a back bend, cobra shape. And exhale, lift your hips. Find downward facing dog, this upside down V. So that's called a vinyasa. You'll do that repeatedly in a Vinyasa Flow or Power Flow class. Gazing to your fingertips, feet move to your hands. Let's take one more Sun Salutation B. Inhale, halfway lift, iron out your spine. Exhale, fold forward. Bring your big toes towards each other, bend your knees, sink your hips nice and low. Taking the arms up, find your chair pose. It's almost like you have an Eeyore tail attached to your tailbone and it's just tugging down. Shoulders out of your ears, your palms face each other. Your belly's working, your legs are working. You're feeling a lot of heat build in this Utkatasana, thunderbolt, or chair pose. Exhale, fold forward, belly to your thighs. Inhale, halfway lift. This is our vinyasa. Exhale, plant your hands and move your feet to the back of the mat. Find plank shape. Lower your knees down. Come all the way to your belly. Inhale, lift your heart. Find a back bend, cobra or upward facing dog. And exhale, lift your hips, downward facing dog. Inhale, sweep the right heel to the sky. Three-legged dog. Exhale, place your right foot inside your right thumb. Use the hand to help it if it didn't get there. Pivot your back heel flat. Step that left foot out and in slightly, right? Come up to your warrior one as you inhale. Yeah, drive that right shin forward. Press down through your left heel. Exhale, palms surround your front foot. Step to plank shape, top of your push-up, and take what's called your vinyasa. Right, so you can lower the knees or not. Come half or all the way down. Inhale, lift your heart, cobra or upward facing dog. And exhale, tuck your toes under, lift your hips, downward facing dog. Inhale, we sweep the left heel to the sky. Exhale, knee towards the nose, place the foot inside your left thumb. Pivot the back heel flat, stepping that right foot in and out so you're not on a tightrope. Inhale, come up to warrior one. Palms face each other, shoulders release out of your ears. Sensation of pressing your feet down and away from each other like you're going to stretch out the length of your mat. Exhale, palms surround your left foot, step to plank shape, top of your push-up, and move through what we call your vinyasa, right? Vinyasa flow. You can think of it like a clearing, a reset, also building strength and heat. Exhale, downward facing dog. All right, we'll move on. So that was 3 Sun Salutation A's, 2 Sun Salutation B's. We'll take a few foundational poses. Inhale, sweep your right heel to the sky. Exhale, place the foot between your hands. You're going to pivot the back heel flat and open up your hips to the long edge of your mat. Windmill your arms. The left arm leads all the way up to warrior two. So notice Julia's hips are open towards this left long edge of the mat. Her legs are really wide apart. Her chest is open. She's gazing over the right fingertips, reaching back through the left. She's a deep bend in her right knee, aiming the right knee directly towards your right big toe. And she's shaking a little bit. It's a tough pose, right? Warrior two. Flip your right palm up. We'll take reverse warrior two. Inhale. She took reverse triangle. Her right leg needed a little break, so she stretched it out straight. That's fantastic. Exhale, we'll take side angle pose. So deep bend in your right knee again. Lower the right forearm down to your thigh. And inhale, sweeping that left arm out over your ear. So you warrior two with your legs. Soften the left shoulder out of your ear. Press down with your right arm and feel your rib cage spiral up and to the left just a little bit. Nice. Inhale, come on up through star shape. So turn to your left, quarter turn. Toes out, heels in. We think about expansion here. Toes out, heels in. Nice. Exhale, turn your toes in. Bring your hands to your hips. Take a nice deep breath in, lift your gaze, lift your chest. A little bit of a back bend here, squeeze your elbows back. And exhale, fold forward, Prasarita Padottanasana. Yeah, you can set your hands down, let your head go. It's called a Prasarita Padottanasana. It's a wide-legged forward fold. Notice her toes are facing that long edge of her mat, maybe even slightly turned in. So the outside edge of her foot is parallel to the front and the back of the mat. Lift your kneecaps. Beautiful. Inhale, lengthen your spine. Exhale, bring your hands to your hips. Lots of strength in your belly. Press down and out with your heels. Inhale, come all the way up to stand. We'll take triangle on the left. Tee out your arms. Turn your right toes in a little bit and dial your left toes out so they're facing the back of the mat. Your legs are straight and strong. So straighten your left leg, Julia. All right, but notice Julia can really lock out. So she wants to have a micro bend in that left knee. That'll also help protect her hamstring and her knee. You're going to hinge your hips back towards your right hand as you reach out past your left toes. Keep reaching. This is where one of our blocks can really come in handy. She's going to lower her left hand onto the block directly underneath her shoulder and take the right arm up. You can still have your gaze down towards your left hand. You'll think about stacking wrist, shoulder, shoulder, wrist. Ready? Beautiful, Julia. One more breath here in your triangle shape. Inhale, come on up. Bend your left knee. Find warrior two on the left. Beautiful. And we'll go right into that same sequence back to the other side. We'll skip any sort of vinyasa for today. Flipping your left palm up. Let the right hand slide down the back leg. She's pressing the leg straight again to give it a break. Nice. Exhale to side angle. Deep bend in your left knee. Set the left forearm onto your left thigh. And inhale, take the right arm out over your ear. You're going to rotate the pinky down and the thumb up to soften that shoulder, right? Tuck the left hip underneath you. Don't move your arm. Deep bend in your left knee. Don't come out of that. You're spiraling your rib cage to the right and up. Notice that big change that just made in that shape. And Julia, you can look up towards your right hand if it feels safe for your neck. Inhale, come on up, quarter turn to your right, find star shape. Turn towards the long edge of your mat, toes out, heels in. Think about expanding, beautiful breath in. Exhale, take your hands to your hips and turn your toes in a little bit, dial your toes in. Nice deep breath in here, lift your heart, find a back bend. And exhale, fold forward. We'll take a challenge this time, not setting our hands down, keep them at your hips. Let your head go. A little bit more work. If you need to place your hands down, do. One more breath here in your fold. Press down and out with your feet. Down and out with your heels. Inhale, come all the way up to stand. It's a lot of work. Beautiful job. We'll take it to triangle on the right. Tee your arms. Turn your left toes in just a little bit. Pivot your right toes out. They're facing the front of the mat. The right leg is straight. Both legs are straight and strong. There's a micro bend in this right knee, especially if you tend to hyperextend. You'll anchor your hips back towards the left hand, so almost like you're sassing them out. Your right hand's going to reach past your right foot. Coming all the way down, you hinge at the hips. The spine is nice and long, so you're drawing back through your right hip. Left arm reaches up, palm faces out. You have wrist, shoulder, shoulder, wrist stacking. Yeah, and your left rib cage is gently lifting up towards the sky. One more breath here in triangle pose. We'll inhale and come out of it to warrior two. Deep bend in your right knee. You're gazing over those right fingertips. Beautiful. Exhale, windmill your hands to surround your right foot. Pivot the back heel off the mat. and step to plank shape, top of your push-up. Taking our last vinyasa, lower your knees to the mat. Come all the way down onto your belly. Inhale, lift your heart to cobra or up dog. And exhale, tuck the toes under, lift your hips to downward facing dog. Last breath here in your upside down V-shaped downward facing dog. Exhale all the air out, gaze to your fingertips and move your feet to your hands. Inhale, lengthen your spine, create that flat tabletop, remember that. Exhale, fold forward. Yeah, soft bend in your knees. Inhale, come all the way up to stand, circle your arms out and up. Lift your gaze past your thumbs, press your feet down, and bring your hands to meet at heart center. This is called samastitihi, or equal standing shape. We're gonna work on our balance a little bit. So Julia, I'm gonna have you turn towards the camera and come right here for tree pose. And Julia, you're gonna do the opposite foot that I tell you so that you are mirroring the person who's watching. So we're gonna start by taking the weight into our left foot. Yep, and come up onto the ball of the right foot. Press down through all four corners of the left and bring your arms out to a T shape. You're going to start to externally rotate your right leg. Yeah. And then bring the sole of the right foot towards your left leg. So here's where you start with those left toes like a little bit of a kickstand down nice and low. You're squeezing the left hip underneath you. Yeah. Tucking those lowest ribs in. Drawing the tailbone and pubic bone towards each other and then lifting the pubic bone up towards your navel. This creates strength and stability so that we can move into balance. Now you might slide your right sole of your foot up to your left calf. Try balancing there. And if that's working for you, you can bring the right sole of the foot to your left thigh. And Julia can reach down and use the help of your right hand to get the foot there. Bringing your arms back out to a T. If they left, an option to take them to reach up to the sky, or right at your hands at heart center again. We've got an equal press of your left inner thigh and your right foot. So they're really working together. You'll feel the flesh of the thigh press back into the foot and the foot into the thigh. So we create balance through those oppositional energies. Nice, slowly release your right foot back to the mat. And then shake out that left leg. And then take the weight into your right foot. We'll move to the other side. Remember, we started by bringing our arms to a T and just coming to the tip of to the ball of our left foot. So finding balance, press down through all four corners of your right foot. Tuck the right hip actively underneath you, so squeeze that glute in and up. Move the tailbone towards the pubic bone up to your navel, and almost like you're hugging those lowest ribs in and down. We're still breathing. Start to externally rotate your left leg. Turn the knee out and bring the sole of the foot to your right ankle. If you're steady there, try lifting it up to your calf. Keep pressing that left knee back in space. Connect from the glute to the outer knee. Option to reach down and take the sole of the foot to the inner thigh. And then feel them press into one another. So the thighs coming back to meet the weight of the foot. Option to take your hands up to the sky. Growing your branches of your tree. Or bring your hands back to your heart. Slowly releasing your foot down, shaking out the right leg. Really nice job. All right, so we're gonna come to a comfortable seat. Julia, turn to face the top of your mat again. And we'll take some stretches here. Stretch the right leg straight out in front of you. And bring the left sole of the foot to connect with your right inner thigh. So just like tree shape we were in, but you're seated. It's called Vinyasa Flow A, or one-legged forward fold. Inhale, take your arms up. Little bit of a twist as you draw that left rib cage forward and across. Fold towards your right leg. And anywhere you land is fine. Julia took her left hand to the pinky edge side of her right foot, which gets a little bit more into her outer leg liner IT band, right? Some of you will just be able to rest the hand to the knee or the thigh. We'll take 3 more breaths here in our stretch. Inhale, slowly coming up. We'll just switch legs. Extend the left leg out in front of you and bring the right sole of the foot to your left inner thigh. Inhale, reach both arms up. There's a little hint of a twist here as you draw that right rib cage forward and across towards your left leg, and then fold over your left leg. And wherever you reach is where you reach. No pushing or striving. Oftentimes, a stretch is more effective when the body is a bit relaxed. And we'll take 3 more breaths here. Slowly come up. So that was Vinyasa Flow A, or one leg forward fold. Stretch both legs out in front of you. This is called Paschimottanasana. We forward fold with both legs. Sometimes it helps to reach back and take the flesh out from underneath the sit bones. Almost like you're opening some curtains in your bum, right? All that flesh back there. This will help create a little bit more length through the low back. If you still feel like you're rounding a lot, you can find a little pillow or blanket to prop right underneath your sit bones. That'll help give you some elevation. Inhale, sweep both arms up, nice long through the spine, and exhale, fold forward. Reaching towards your feet, it's okay if you don't reach them. Back to the nice deep flow of your breath. Maybe you're counting again, inhaling for 4 or 5 and exhaling for 4 or 5 counts. Slowly come up. I'll have you bend your knees, hold behind the thighs, and lower all the way down onto your back. And we'll take one back bend here called bridge pose. You're going to bend your knees and move the feet in a little closer to your body. The feet are at least hip width apart, and you could turn the toes in just slightly. Snuggle the arms down by your sides. Press down through the back of your arm. Think about reaching your tailbone towards your heels and then slowly lifting vertebrae by vertebrae off the mat. You can rock just a little bit to one side and tuck the head of your shoulder underneath your body. And then on the other side, tuck the head of the shoulder underneath. That's it, Julia. Just a very gentle rock. Her gaze is right down her nose. Her chin is towards her chest. She's pressing very gently down through the back of her head. None of her cervical vertebrae are on the mat. That's pretty important. Thus, we tuck the shoulder underneath and we press gently through the back of the head. She's reaching the tailbone towards the back of her knee. And her knee is relatively over her heel or her ankle. There's a gentle engagement of the glutes here and some engagement of your belly too. Tuck your tail, roll all the way back down to the mat. Nice job. Hug the knees into your chest. Wrap your hands around your shins and make a few circles or rock a little bit side to side. Take a twist here just to relieve the low back. So let both knees drop over to your right. Bring your arms to a T. Squeeze of your knees towards each other. Inhale, bring them back to center. Use the strength of your core. And exhale, let them stack over to the left. Notice how her knees are staying fairly close to her torso, to her chest. Breath here. Little squeeze of your knees towards each other. Inhale, bring them back to center. We'll take full happy baby. We took the half variation at the beginning of practice, so start to open out your knees. Your hands are going to come between your legs. Yep. And reach for the ankles or the outside edges of the feet. You could also just, again, hold behind the thigh if you can't quite reach. And then you're pressing your feet up towards the sky, drawing the knees back towards the shoulders, towards the outer shoulder, and releasing your tailbone back to the mat if it lifted a lot. Let's take one more breath right here. And then slowly release, stretch your legs out on the mat. Move your heels about mat width apart. So your legs are out nice and wide. And bring your arms out from your sides. Turn the palms to face up in receptivity. Not quite that far out, Julia. Yeah, beautiful. And then let the fingers soften in, curling towards the center of your palm. Allow the eyes to drift shut. And just release all effort. This is called Shavasana, final rest, or actually corpse pose. This is where we allow the practice to really be absorbed by the body. What we learned mentally, physically, the energy that we changed by moving the spine in all 6 directions is kind of locked into the cells. And anything we no longer need is released in this shape. Simply observing the thoughts if they drift in and out of your consciousness. Back to the sensation of inhale and exhale, feeling your body rest on the earth. Noticing where in the body you feel the breath moving. Gratitude for the steadiness of inhale and exhale that provides us life, force, energy, or prana. Maybe wiggling through the fingers and the toes, moving your chin from shoulder to shoulder. Slowly and gently emerging, bend the knees, place the soles of the feet to the earth, and plant your palms face down. Ground yourself to this moment. You might take it with you. And come to rest over on one side. In the first position of life, you can tuck the hands underneath the side of your head. Doesn't matter which side you roll to. Either way is fine. Pressing down with one or both hands, lift yourself up to a comfortable seat. Bringing your hands to meet at heart center in prayer pose, or what's called Anjali Mudra. It's a salutation, a greeting. Both a hello and a goodbye, a symbol of completion and new beginnings. Honoring the work we did, the light within each of us. Namaste. I hope you enjoyed this first introduction to Vinyasa Flow. If you have questions, please put them in the comments and I'll do my best to answer them. Take care.